In 10 years of disaster relief, I've pulled people out of floods, fires, even mass graves. But there's one place I was sent to that doesn't officially exist. No records, no coordinates, no survivors listed. And according to my team, I was never there. The call came in just before dawn. One of those low-priority deployments that somehow feels heavier than the urgent ones. A storm had rolled through a stretch of Midwest farmland so remote it barely showed up on standard maps. Communications blackout, possible casualties. My team and I had done this 100 times before. You drive in, you assess, you extract whoever's still breathing, and you leave the ghosts behind. That's the job. Simple. Mechanical, clean. At least, it's supposed to be. We drove 6 hours through broken highways and fallen power lines before the GPS started glitching. At first, it lagged, recalculating routes that didn't exist, looping us back onto roads we'd already passed. Then the signal dropped completely. Our radios weren't any better. Every channel was swallowed by this low static. Not white noise, not interference. Something uneven, like voices trying to form words but failing halfway through. I remember turning to Ellis in the passenger seat. He joked about dead zones like it was normal, like we hadn't just crossed into something that didn't want to be found. The first sign we saw didn't make sense. It was nailed crookedly to a splintered post just off the road. Welcome to Lark Hill. None of us had heard of it. Our briefing hadn't mentioned any towns nearby, just farmland, scattered houses, maybe a church or two. But this was something else. We should have turned back right then, logged it, asked for clarification. But disaster work trains you to keep moving forward. There are always people who need help, always someone waiting. So we drove in. The town looked untouched. That's what got me first. Not damaged, not flooded, not even wind-torn. While everything outside its borders looked like it had been dragged through hell. Lark Hill sat there like it had been skipped over entirely. Clean streets, intact windows, cars parked neatly along curbs. It felt wrong, like a photograph pasted over a crime scene. Ellis muttered, "Lucky bastards." But his voice didn't sound convinced. Neither was I. We split into pairs to search for survivors, standard protocol. I teamed up with Rivera, quiet guy, sharp instincts, the kind of person who notices things you wish you hadn't. The first house we entered looked lived in, but not alive. Dinner plates were set on the table, half-eaten food sitting there like the people had just stepped away. Except it didn't smell right. Not rotten. Not fresh either. Just suspended. Like time had forgotten what to do with it. Family photos lined the walls. Smiling faces, holidays, birthdays. But the more we looked, the more something twisted inside my gut. The same faces kept appearing. Different houses, different frames, same people, watching us. We checked the clocks next. Every single one. Microwave displays, wall clocks, wristwatches left on counters, stopped at exactly 3:17. Not broken, not flickering, just frozen. Rivera whispered, "You see this?" I nodded. Didn't trust my voice. Because something about that time felt important, like we were late for something we didn't understand. That's when we found the first survivor. She was standing in the middle of the street, perfectly still, hands folded like she'd been waiting. Middle-aged, pale, eyes too focused. I called out to her, asked if she was hurt, needed help. She smiled and said, "There was no storm. Everything is normal." Rivera and I exchanged a look. I asked her name. She paused, just for a second too long. Then, Margaret, like she'd picked it from a list. We gathered the team back at the trucks before sunset. Everyone had seen the same things, the same empty houses, the same photos, the same people. Because there were more of them now, standing at corners, watching from porches, all calm, all smiling, all repeating the same lines. No storm. Everything is normal. Ellis tried to laugh it off, but I could hear the crack in it. We decided to leave at first light. Nobody wanted to admit it, but we all knew something here wasn't right. That night I couldn't sleep. The silence pressed in too hard. No wind, no insects, nothing. Just that faint static creeping through the radio, even when it was turned off. I stepped outside around 2 a.m., needed air, needed space. That's when I saw them. Figures standing just beyond the reach of the streetlights. Dozens of them, perfectly still, watching. I called out. No response. Took a step closer, and they stepped back, just enough to stay hidden in the dark, like they were measuring distance, counting something. I went back inside, locked the door. Didn't sleep at all. By morning, Rivera was gone. At first, we thought he'd gone ahead to scout, but his gear was still there. His boots, his radio, everything. Except him. Ellis frowned. "You sure he was with us?" I stared at him, thought he was joking. But then I looked around. No one else mentioned Rivera. No one else remembered pairing with him. It was like he'd been erased overnight. I checked the team log on my tablet. His name wasn't there. Not crossed out, not missing, just never existed. My hands started shaking, because I remembered. Didn't I? That's when I noticed the photo, pinned to the inside wall of one of the houses we'd searched. A family portrait. 4 people standing in front of a house, smiling. And there, on the far right, was me. Same face, same uniform, but older. And the house behind us was this town. I ran back to the trucks, heart hammering, tried to start the engine. Nothing. Dead. Every vehicle, dead. The others didn't seem panicked, not like they should have been. Ellis just shrugged. "Guess we're staying a little longer." His voice sounded different, flatter. More townspeople gathered around us, smiling, watching, waiting. And then one of them stepped forward, a man this time. He looked at me, really looked, and said softly, "You're adjusting well." I stumbled back. "What is this place?" He tilted his head, almost curious. "This is where you come when you're no longer accounted for." The explanation didn't come all at once. It leaked out, in fragments, in repeated phrases, in things they almost said before stopping. The town appears where disasters happen. Floods, fires, storms, places where people vanish, where records get lost, where names slip through cracks. It takes the ones no one will find, and it keeps them, not as they were, but as something quieter, something easier. I tried to leave on foot, walked for hours in a straight line. The town never ended. Every street led back to itself. Every road curved inward, like the place was folding around me, keeping me centered. By the second night, Ellis stopped remembering things too. Then Carla, then Jensen. None faded, faces blurred, conversations looped, and every time I tried to hold on to something real, it slipped away like a dream after waking. I found more photos, more versions of me, standing with different people, in different years, always smiling, always part of the town. The last thing I remember clearly is standing in the street at night, with the others, watching the darkness beyond the lights, feeling calm, like there was nothing to be afraid of anymore, like there never had been. Somewhere far away, another storm is probably forming right now. Another blackout, another list of missing names, and maybe a relief team is already on its way, driving down broken roads, following failing signals, looking for people to save. If they're unlucky, they'll find a sign nailed to a crooked post, welcoming them into a town that doesn't exist, a town that looks untouched, a town that feels wrong. And if you ever see it, if the streets are too clean, the people too calm, the clocks all stopped at the same time, don't go inside. Don't speak to anyone. And whatever you do, don't let the town remember you. Thanks for sipping tonight's tale with Haunted Brew. Don't forget to subscribe and sleep tight if you still can.